I know I'm supposed to talk about Psychonauts today, but first I need to preface it with another topic. Hype. It exists in many forms, but it only has one personality trait. Obnoxious. You might be watching TV, listening to the radio, or listening to your favorite podcast, when suddenly, your eyes, ears, and brain cells are assaulted by a vicious ad or in-show plug for something you really don't care about. It could be anything, a product or some form of entertainment, but the bottom line is, someone is aggressively begging for your attention. Now, I'm not exactly cracking on ads per se. Word has to get out about the product somehow. What I am targeting is any form of content that tries to convince you something is really great, even though it's probably just okay. It doesn't even have to be an ad either. It could just be one of your friends telling you that something is really, really good. Then you actually try it, only to find out they oversold it. This is most commonly exemplified by people from the 80s talking about how great the 80s was. So help me God, if I hear Africa one more time, I swear I'll put a curse on Toto. Same goes for the 90s. Get over Rocco's Modern Life! Here's another example. Final Fantasy VII. From 97 to present, my life has been haunted by people telling me that this game was one of the bestest, most wonderfulest games ever. When I finally decided to break down and give the game a try, I came to find it was a lukewarm experience at best. Now, I'm not trying to bash Final Fantasy VII specifically, it's just the easiest example I can find. More often than not, people let nostalgia cloud their judgment of whether or not something is better than just okay. This isn't the worst thing in the world. I'm sure I'm guilty of it from time to time myself. My point is that hype can really put people off, rather than entice them to check out this thing you love. For crying out loud, keep it in your pants, at least until the third date. I know you're enthusiastic about this wonderful thing you've discovered, but you've got to gently bring people into it. Otherwise, you just come off as one of those pushy cell phone vendors at the mall that you have to put on a ghillie suit to avoid. And so at last we come to Psychonauts. I've heard time and again that this game is so underrated and wonderful that it defies explanation. Now, it's certainly true that despite all critical acclaim, this game underperformed on its first outing. We all know what happens to something under these circumstances, right? Yep, cult status. It can't be denied that when anything becomes a cult classic, people become raving zealots about it. I mean, it's in the freaking name. Well, to me, cult is just another form of hype, and given the track record of hype, I simply wrote it off and forgot about it. Whatever it was, I figured I already had it pegged and simply refused to get on board the hype train. Not to get all personal, but I kinda have a thing about cults. They're always either trying to exercise the spirits inside me or use my power to achieve world domination. But you don't need to hear my problems. I haven't thought about that game since it came out. Then, in 2015, an announcement was made that a sequel was on its way. It seemed the flame of admiration for this game had not died out. Fast forward to a few weeks ago. By chance, I came across the first game. It haunted me, and has followed me relentlessly. No matter how hard I tried to run from it, it was as if my destiny was inextricably linked with this game. With heavy resignation, I bought myself a copy. The time had come, it seemed, to put this to bed once and for all. I installed the game and gave it a spin, fully expecting it to disappoint me like so many other cult favorites. After giving it a full playthrough, it is my solemn opinion that this game is pretty good. I really liked it. There were several parts that pissed me off to no end, but we'll get to that in due time. For now, let's dig into the good stuff. First of all, who are the Psychonauts? Well, based on my findings, they're a quasi-governmental counter-terrorist group with psychic abilities. Not much more information is given about the Psychonauts beyond that, but we now know enough to proceed. Our protagonist is a precocious little scamp by the name of Rasputin, named after a reputed sorcerer and friend of the Russian royal family. Raz, as he is known colloquially, is a psychically talented acrobat who pulls a total role reversal and runs away from the circus. That's cute, Double Fine. I see what you did there. And cute really is the operative word here. Our hero, having heard of the high-flying exploits of the titular Psychonauts, immediately volunteers himself for service. This elite group offers a recruitment program for youths that are psychically gifted. Oddly enough, this program works like the Boy Scouts of America. But where in the Boy Scouts you earn badges for archery or building a campfire, these children earn merit badges to mark their aptitude with psychic abilities. As Rasputin, you'll quickly acquire merit badges along with a plethora of other items to help you become a more powerful psychic to rival that of Jean Grey from the X-Men. But that's just the outer crust of this game. Don't let the goofball charm fool you. This game will not pull any punches. However, while it's a challenging game, don't be afraid to ask for help. While in most games, the hint system only serves as a way to tell you something you already knew, here I actually found myself making full use of it multiple times. The real heart of Psychonauts, however, is in the characters. Everyone has got something fun and quirky to say.
What do you think's wrong with my brain, Doctor?
How should I know? I'm a dentist.
It's really like being inside of some kind of animated sitcom. And let me just say, if this were a show, I'd totally watch it. Fans of the popular Nickelodeon program Invader Zim will no doubt immediately recognize the voice of Richard Horvitz, best known for his role as the show's namesake, Zim. It does occasionally come dangerously close to just being Invader Zim the game, but I defy you to find a problem with that. Whoops, look at me falling for nostalgia. Psychonauts is so quirky and charming, and yet full of moments that will make you say, wow. The best part is, it doesn't come off as pretentious, unlike some games of this nature. It doesn't say, hey, look at us being all meaningful and poignant. Instead, it lets the player explore the deeper meaning for themselves. Sure, on the surface of it, it's just a good game, but if you look closer, you find it's got a lot more going on. Oh, and you know how I said cute? Yeah, this game is cute. Between the oddball art style and the tongue-in-cheek humor, this game just makes me want to pinch its widow cheeks. There were just so many moments that made me say, aww. I mentioned the art style already, but I cannot overstate how no two levels look exactly alike. Every level is specially made to present the player with a unique scenario, rather than just a simple run here and collect this marathon. As complex and surreal as the mental world of the human psyche can be, Psychonauts reflects that brilliantly. How did this game not sell better in 2005? It's tragic, really, like the last puppy at the kennel. Wow, I just made myself really sad. Let's move on. This game has a lot of heart, and it shows. There's a deeper theme here of understanding, love, compassion, and dealing with mental health issues. Couple that with the fact that it's all wrapped around a competent game with loads of content for you to explore. That makes you a winner in my book. There's not much else to say, really. Well done, guys. Now comes the part I've been dreading. It's time to point out the negatives. I'm happy to say, though, there aren't that many. First of all, this game is starting to show its age. While it doesn't seem fair to criticize the graphics, some people might find it a bit jarring to look at. It's a superficial detail at best, but I figured I'd try to prepare the newcomers. Unfortunately, that's not the worst part. There were a lot of points where I was wondering why it was so difficult to navigate certain areas. The flip bar mechanic could be particularly frustrating at parts, especially near the end. The checkpoint system is good, but I just wish this was one of those games where you could save anywhere instead of just at certain points. It's rare, but sometimes the camera works against you as well, often making it difficult to traverse certain levels. All of these problems came to a head at the final level, where you have to protect Kid Oleander from monsters. Whoever designed this level, you, sir or madam, are a bad person. It must be said that I loved the voice acting in this game, but there are a lot of points where you would get repeated lines of dialogue that became stale and even abrasive after hearing them enough times.
No milk for you! Die! No milk for you! Die! 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 Die!
It would have been nice if there was some kind of cap on how many times a character said a certain phrase. Look, I'm not like some kind of game master. I'm gonna mess up a dozen or so times. In my defense, though, I'm a walking stick. I don't have human appendages. I have to operate the controller through sheer force of will. It doesn't help with the frustration factor to hear the same 3 lines of dialogue every time I have to try again. There were a couple of instances where I simply hit the mute button until I could complete the challenge. I know you can just turn the speech volume off, but that sucks. Like I said, I like the voice acting. I don't want to phase it out altogether. Other than that, though, there's not a whole lot else to say. This game has held up pretty well, all things considered. See, I told you that would be brief. In case you haven't played this, I'm not going to tell you anything else. You're just going to have to play it for yourself. Don't let my short list of negative attributes cool you off. I highly recommend this game to anyone of any age group. It will warm your heart and provide you with hours of entertainment. Twice as much if you actually take the time to search for all the hidden stuff. So what's the final tally? Well, I guess you can consider me a new member of the cult. This game offered so much more than I was expecting, and is easily on par with any game of its time. It's a worthy contemporary of games like Jak and Daxter and Kingdom Hearts. Had I played this back when it originally came out, I'd definitely have liked it, but I think I like it more because it actually lives up to its hype. On a scale of 1 to fantastic, I give Psychonauts for the PlayStation 2 an 8. Keep soldiering on, you brave little brain kisser. Did you enjoy Psychonauts? What should I talk about next? Let us know about it in the comments. Please consider subscribing to our channel on Twitch and YouTube. All YouTube content will appear a couple of days after Twitch, so the best way to see our content the day it premieres is to follow our Twitch channel. You can also find us on Facebook and Twitter. Thanks for watching!